Hello everyone and welcome to episode 18 of The Moaning Show. I'm HCD Rules 0001 and in this edition I would like to talk to you about something that we all have to do but we never ever want to do, and that is paying the bills or bills in general. It's no secret that absolutely everyone in the world has to pay bills. It's how the world moves. It's a little bit of a sequel to last week's Moaning Show, episode 17, with the increasing cost of everything. So I'll just go through basically, why bills are there. I mean, bills are there to, it used to be so that places could make enough money to put back into services and things like that, but bills these days are for company profit. There's no doubt about it. The bosses of these companies that make us pay bills, they're just sitting in an office doing nothing. They're doing literally sod all, and they're getting paid hundreds of thousands a year just for being the one person above any others that has just thought, oh, I know how to fleece some more money out of the common man. It's bastards, I think is the word. But bills have never gone down, like prices of fuel and food these days. They never go down, and it's sort of depressing, really, to be honest with you, because everything increases and so do wages. I give the workforce that, but if you look at the average bill these days and the average increase in bills, I mean, I heard something the other day that one of the utility companies were raising their gas prices by 7%. 7%, yeah. So say like it's obvious to say that say like if your gas bill was £100 a quarter, you'd be paying £107. I mean, it's obviously easier, but what I'm saying is that 7% price increase for your utility bill, and your wages won't even go up 3% these days in a wage increase. If you're working minimum wage, you've got no chance, basically. So it's not all doom and gloom. Interesting thing, when I was working for the job centre a few years ago, I got told by a Scottish gentleman I was working with, who was on my team, that Scotland didn't pay water bills. Now, I don't know if that's still true today. If it is, I'd be very interested to find out where the Scottish government, makes up the money, or where the companies make up their money for, to fix the water valves and everything, because basically that's what the water bills go to. I mean, obviously a substantial amount of the water bill goes to the shareholders and things, but a fair amount does actually go to the maintenance, let's just say, of these things. But that's basically a question I'd like to ask anyone who's watching and anyone that's in the know is, where else does the money go? Because you're paying for something that should be free, let's be brutally honest with you. Alright, you need to upkeep the reservoirs and how the water becomes right from rainwater to drinking water. But I'm basically asking, why does it cost so much for this? Why does it cost so much? I don't know. So, that's something I'd like to know. Anyone in the know, guess a comment or a message or whatever. So, but now on to the main body of this week's Moaning Show. Bills. I mean, it's not just bills per se. I mean, it could be bill from a clothing catalogue or whatever, or a credit card bill or whatever. 90% of people have got credit cards, but bills, they take up more money than anything else. So like you earn £900 to £1,000 to say £1,200 a month, you're guaranteed over half of that money, at least over half of that money, maybe even 3/4 of it, will go on bills, rent, utilities, and food shopping, leaving you very little to keep back or to spend on your own enjoyment. So when people do get money in those situations, it usually goes quite quickly. But as I say, on to the main body of this week's edition, utility bills. Now, they are the biggest culprits. These companies are making profits, and what do we see in return? Not a heck of a lot. You are getting charged to use your electricity. As I say, I'm using electricity by speaking to you this time, obviously, as I do each and every time. It's a stupid thing to say, but what I'm saying is these companies should be helping you. Times are hard. Times, money has to be stretched, and these companies that are making millions of pounds of profit a year could actually say, yeah, well, people are beginning to struggle paying their bills. We're seeing more and more people, run up huge debts on their electricity and gas bills. Let's drop our prices by 15% or whatever. Bullshit today. There is no way in hell that these companies will ever drop their prices by more than say 2.5%. I mean, they might freeze their prices. There's usually adverts from British Gas or someone else saying, yeah, our prices are frozen until November. Yeah, you wait till November. Straight up, mate. Straight up. And that's how they get us. We want to pay as least as amount of money as possible for the things we do on a day-to-day basis. Watch telly, play computer games, read late at night, put the washing on, or whatever we do late at night, or it's not what I meant, whatever we do with electricity, we've got fans on, it's summer, Christmas lights and things like that. These companies must love Christmas. These electric companies must love Christmas, because it basically means more juice is being used, they get more money. And it's almost sickening because of the fact that they put their prices up at least twice a year, these companies, and our wages go up once a year if we're lucky, or the minimum wage goes up ever so slightly by less than 10 pence a year. It's ridiculous, and we're supposed to make ends meet. We're supposed to make ends meet because of the fact that they've raised the minimum wage 10p, or by 5p or 3p. There is not one person that can be happy living on minimum wage, but that's all some companies pay. Or they pay a couple of pence over the minimum wage and make it seem like they've got a good position going. Fuck off. But utility bills are a pain in the rectum. They really are a pain in the arse. And I'm just going to go through with you my experiences of working at one of them, EDF Energy. I got a job at a call centre in, let's see now, 2004 I think it was, 2005, might have even been 2007. Now, I don't blame anyone that works for EDF Energy. I made some good friends while I was there, but the actual format of the position, I was basically a debt collector. So people would phone me up and on the other end of the phone I would have, not 90% of the time you got, I wouldn't say 90, I'd say 70% of the time you would get people just paying an amount of money, to ease their account worries or whatever, and you pay it and you put it through, blah 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 blah, bang, done. And that bit of the job wasn't so bad, it wasn't bad at all. It's when things changed a little bit and we had to start doing different things. We had to go through specific things, different side of the business, where agents out in the field would be going to a house or flat or bungalow, wherever, that had stocked up a large amount of debt, and this debt would have to be calculated by ourselves on the computers and everything. We would have to then record that debt, give it to the person to load onto what they were doing. These agents in the field were taking out an original meter and servicing in a prepayment meter. Now, if you don't know what I'm on about, prepayment meters are machines that you get charged up at a supermarket or a pay point, whatever, with an exact amount of money. So say like £5 for a couple of days, or £5 a week, or £10 a week. You get it charged up, you shove it in, and instead of paying money every month or every 3 months via direct debit or the bills, you have to pay it this way. Now, when these amounts of money, say like if someone owed £200 on their electricity bill, they would get the £200 loaded by these agents out in the field, but they would also get the service charge for them to change it to a prepayment meter. That was anything between 30 and 50 quid, I think, at the time. Do bear in mind this was 2007 I had this job, so amounts probably would have changed. So already you owe 230 quid. Alright, you haven't paid your bill, fair enough, but these guys come into your house when you're out, they change it over, they leave you a little note saying you haven't paid your bill, so we have changed the electricity meter to a prepayment meter. We look forward to hearing from you. And you can't pay, at least I don't think you can, you can't pay it all off in one go. I think the maximum you could pay off at any one go was like 50 quid or something like that. You could pay your electricity bill, but you had to keep the prepayment meter for at least 12 months. And contrary to what these electricity companies would tell you, the electricity prepayment meter is not a cheaper tariff. In fact, it's a little bit more expensive. It's like 5p an hour more expensive or something like that. And obviously when you use electricity all day every day, 5p an hour or something like that adds up pretty quickly. But that's not the worst thing about these energy companies. Not the fact that they sneak into your house or they get into your house some way, they change the meter over to prepayment meter and things like that. That's not the worst thing. The worst thing about these energy companies, because I actually had to say this myself over the phone to someone who couldn't pay their electricity bill. I'd get a call, or you'd get a call from an elderly person or whoever, someone that could quite afford their monthly payments. So say like they were paying 30 quid and they need to be paying 40 quid. Now, we've had snow in the last few days here in the UK, and I bet you any money in the world that this conversation would have been going on somewhere in the country. Not necessarily where I live with the company I work for, but this conversation would have happened. I'll use this hand for the person calling in and this hand as the advisor. Okay? Hello? Blah 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 energy suppliers, blah blah blah. How can I help? I've just received an electricity bill for £200. I can't pay that. And it's freezing cold. Well, you have to take into consideration, sir/madam, that, well, you're using too much electricity. You should try turning things off. But all I've got is a television and a toaster. Well, that can't be the fact, because of on our screens you're using a heck of a lot of electricity, sir/madam. Yes, but it's just too much money. You're costing me too much money per month. It's not our problem, sir/madam. You need to pay your electricity bill or we will be around with a prepayment meter. I don't want a prepayment meter. Prepayment meters are more expensive. Prepayment meters are a standard tariff which is actually cheaper. I can't pay these prices. They're astronomical prices. I mean, I've got to put my heating on. It's freezing outside. It's -5 out there. Well, we have something to suggest to you. Well, we're saying don't turn on your electric boiler or your gas fires or your central heating. I've got to. It's absolutely freezing here. No, put a jumper on. And that is the worst thing about these companies. I literally heard this conversation twice a week during the winter period when I was working. Put a jumper on, or put another jumper on. And this is how these companies treat their customers. Put another jumper on. If you're cold, close the windows, curl up in a duvet and put a jumper on. That's depriving someone of basic human rights. We need to be warm, we need to be fed, we need to be clothed, and we need a good lavatory system. That's it, basically. And they're saying put a jumper on. I mean, that was basically the beginning of the end for my time at EDF Energy. It wasn't just that though. They were making me do things beyond my nature. And anyone that knows me knows I'm a kind-hearted, gentle giant. And, you know, that was just... So I got out of there. And as I say, every single company like this, excuse me, is a profit. Couldn't care less. They have specific departments, these companies, that are supposed to deal with vulnerable people or disabled people. Tariff might be a little bit cheaper, but in the long run you don't get any extra help hardly. There is an Energy Watch organisation, or Ofcom or Ofgen, whatever they're called, and they're supposed to police the usage of these companies. And to be honest, they don't do a good enough job. I mean, how can a company put up their gas and electric bills by say 13% or 15%, and then later on that year by another 5 or 6%? A proper energy police needs to be created, or proper utility bills police needs to be created to stop this from happening. People's wages are not going up by that specific amount, so you're having to find more money to pay these bills and to pay these, you know, these people, and you're having less money to spend A, on yourself, B, on food. Because so instead of having like burger and chips one week, Instead of that, you're having beans on toast. Now, nothing wrong with beans on toast, but you end up having it more and more because these bills are going up and up and up, and your wages are going up less than an eighth of what these prices are going up. It just needs to be a proper energy police. I'll be able to set one up. I just need a marketing strategy and everything like that. I need people to help me do it, obviously. But I'd be saying, well, hang on a minute, you're putting your prices up by 15%. How's that fair? And how is it fair? I ask anyone who's watching. I ask anyone who's watching that works for these companies or has worked for these companies. How is that fair? Yes, you have to take the rough with the smooth, but how come it always seems to be rough, right? So that's basically it for this edition of the Moaning Show. I hope you've understood what I'm getting at. The next edition will be quite a controversial topic. You'll find out more next week. It's about a specific day next week, and I hope to get the video out before that occasion. So thanks for watching. Put any comments in the comment box. You know, try and answer my questions really, and I'll see you next time for more moaning.